Okay, here we go. Second attempt at this YouTube thing. Some of you guys really liked the first video and some of you thought that I should buy a Suzuki. You can't please them all, can you? This video is actually part 1 out of 2. And today's topic is going to be some basic suspension modifications and some testing. The upcoming video will be a little more action. It's going to be from my first race with the Stark Varg. Quite excited about that one. But before we race, we need new tires. So time to get to work. Okay, here you have it. New tires installed. C17 up front and the XT 454 in the rear, both with winter friction compound. Judging by the tire profile and the amount of studs, I think this will suit my riding style, but you never know. So now we're moving on to suspension. As I said in my previous video, what Stark gives you is proper motocross suspension, sprung and valved for those kind of clips you see on Instagram. It's perfect for that type of riding. Me, I'm 40 plus, need to be at work Monday morning, provided for my kid. The 76 subscribers this channel now has will not put food on the table. Can't be riding 100 feet jumps, seeking bangers, 15 seconds of fame on Instagram. Sorry, won't do it. So in order to adapt the suspension a little more to us senior citizens, enduro amateurs, we start by disassembling the fork. Here you have it, the inside of your Triple S fork. The original design, close to 15 years old now, but still works out really good, and it's easy to adapt to your own needs, whether it be motocross or enduro, pro or amateur. In my quest for the perfect all-round setup, I guess you can call it, here's what I'm gonna do. First up, new springs. I'm 6 feet tall, around 83 to 85 kilos, and the bike was ordered with the 85 to 90 kilo suspension setup. That gives you 5.0 springs on the big ones and 22 springs for the compression. My fork will be set up with a pair of 4.8s for the big ones and 20 Newton compression springs instead. The mid valving and the compression valving will be revised with a recipe from Swedish KYB Guru Monson Racing Suspension. This is by far where the biggest difference can be made on the fork. I will change the inner and outer bushings for some premium ones, plus I will add the SKF dual compound dust and oil seals. This is done to help reduce friction. New free piston, this one. Again, less friction, better small bump compliance. New spring perch, you can see it here, together with 15cc extra oil to make the fork a little more progressive for the bigger hits. This is crucial for the times when you're riding motocross tracks with enduro springs and valving. Otherwise, you'll risk bottom out the fork way too hard on the bigger flat landings. Depending on your needs, you can also go with a thicker oil as well. The KYB 01M has pretty low viscosity compared to many other oils you can use. Pros and cons. Regardless of what that 4-stroke guy in the paddock told you, oil volume in the outer tube only affects the last third of the stroke. don't be afraid to play around. This is really good if you have problems bottoming out your fork. Add some extra oil. You will not ruin your small bump compliance. I promise you that. Then finally, we're gonna top off with some nice finger clickers for rebound. Make it toolless. Use your fingers instead. Nice little feature. And same for the compression. Skip the screwdriver, do it with the fingers instead. That way you're more likely to try out different settings and always seeking improvements. In essence, we're gonna go from heavy metal to Justin Bieber. And with the power of editing, here we have it. All done. You can see the finger clickers here. Nice little feature. Now you know what's done to the fork. And if the revised valving works out good, I'll give you the full rundown and shim stack recipes in an upcoming video. So let's talk about the rear shock. There you have it. To be honest, this video is already getting way longer than I intended, so let's just say this one has some super secret factory prototype stuff done to the inside. But I thought I should point out one key factor for easy setup of the rear. That's the X-Trig preload adjuster. Some of you probably have one on your current bike already, but since this video was going to be about basic suspension, setting sag is a must for your dirt bike, and there's tons of videos here on YouTube on how to do it. The X-Trig preload adjuster just makes it so much easier. Okay, so the tires done. Suspension done. The bike still needs some attention, but I'm gonna fix it and then we're gonna hit the test track. With the magic of editing, here we are, local gravel pit. Not the best weather today for shooting outside, especially when you barely know what the camera settings are doing. So, but hey, it is what it is. This place and the nearby forest test track are two of my happy places for playing with suspension, new tires. They have just short of a 1 minute 45 lap time, and they're both perfect for consistent riding, crucial for trying out new stuff. What I'm doing today, testing both suspension and tires, not the best of moves, I'll admit to that. Try to test one thing at a time to isolate the changes. But the race series premiere is just around the corner, and I'm really curious about these new tires. So to get the most out of your suspension, you need to test, adjust, compare, repeat. Invest the hours, lap after lap. Don't look for convenience. If you're like me, a novice amateur, more ambition than talent, the chances that you can tell what's fast or not, I would say, are slim to none. But that doesn't rule out the possibility to set up your bike perfect for your skills and your riding. If you want a bike with a really good setup, good old-fashioned hard work and a stopwatch is the easiest way to get there. Shortcuts doesn't work. The main purpose of today is to get a first feeling for the new tires and try to sort out the basics of the suspension. The sag is set up close to what I'm used to, and the clickers front and rear are in the ballpark of the stock settings. Initially, I'll be looking for 3 different things. First, and always first on a new bike, geometry. Super important, and what you need to figure out from the start. How does the bike move, front and rear, during acceleration, braking, bumps? The bike's geometry and its ability to stay balanced under all circumstances mainly depends on the spring ratios combined with your fork height in the triple clamps. That effect is called fork trail if you want to look it up. You can alter the geometry slightly with preload adjustments. Next, I'll be looking for steering versus cornering. Similar but 2 different things, almost working against each other. Does the bike trying to resist, or does it fall in too much when you're initiating the turn? Does it under or oversteer mid-turn? Again, this mainly depends on the spring ratios and your fork height in the triple clamps. But then, once you have the basic geometry, steering and cornering set up properly, it's time to move on to the adjusters and let the fun times begin. There's like 2 million different theories about how to do this the right way, and instead of me mansplaining about how many clicks you should turn your adjusters and how everything works, I put some links down in the description. It's the absolute basics for sag, rebound, compression, but most importantly, if you're new to suspension setup, the explanation to the bracketing method. As I said, there's no convenience in suspension tuning, you gotta do the work. But I am gonna share my philosophy to help you get started. Compression is the initial movement. Rebound is the reaction to that movement. What I'm looking for is how firm I can set my compression and how fast I can set my rebound without sacrificing grip, control, and a little bit of comfort. But with no further ado, let's get on a bike, some POV footage. I'm gonna start out with 40 horsepower, 45 maybe, and around 85% region. In the middle of warm-up, came across this hill you can see right here. A lot steeper than it looks on camera, as always. On a gas bike, this is typical third gear. You pin it, you make it to the top. Easy start, easy into it. The bike actually accelerates all the way to the top with 50 horsepower. Not 80, that's 50 horsepower, and the speed is absolutely mind-blowing. It's mental how fast. Whoa! Okay, so here you have the conditions for today. The suspension tuning I was planning to do today, not gonna work. There's so much snow. There's almost impossible to ride with any kind of consistency. So I guess I'm just gonna show you some various POV footage from the gravel pit. Our happy place, as I said. Quite a big place. Don't know if you can catch it on camera, but I'll give you some random clips and end it off with that. Next time, it will be the race video, my first ever enduro race on the Stark Varg. Quite excited about that one. Don't know about the battery life. It's an enduro sprint, I should say, so I will have time to recharge the bike between the laps, but until then, catch you on the next one.